whatever. And so if I want to do something, boom, it's right there, pretty easy to find. Well, it's somewhere in my phone, but it's no longer in a file that I can easily track it down. So I've been trying to do that in between, and that takes a lot of time.
You have Do you have the iCloud, or is it Apple or Android?
Yeah, it was, and that's the thing. I got most of it back. Let me see here real quickly. I can tell you. So how many videos do? Oh, here we are. So on my phone, I have 26,767 little bits of video, and same thing for photos and stuff like that. Let's see, photos, 275,991. So the majority of them are still there. I think I only lost about a week that wasn't backed up. However, if it's like, well, Richard, put together a bunch of stuff from Barb that you shot here at the station, or, some of her stuff or whatever. Yeah, I can do that if I can find all the pieces, but I'm going to have to wade through 275,000 pieces to try to find what I'm looking for. So it's a real pain in the butt. But you know what? People are dying, and I'm complaining about that. That's kind of stupid. Give me 1 second here.
Those things should not be compared.
Crashing?
Yeah, bone crushing.
I would have to agree with that. God, that feels so good.
I just don't know how it's in the same sentence.
Well, because I put it there. That's why. All right, I am good to go. Just make this
All right.
a little bit more.
Thank you for waiting for me. I had to go present an offer in person.
Oh, so you were out making money and made us wait? The hell do you think?
Well, I mean, it's like, it's a 22-page document,
Yeah.
and the seller's like, I'm nervous. I'm like, okay, let's sit down and talk about it.
So
Let's
what is
go.
the average contract? How many pages?
22, it's a state form. It's 22 or 24 pages. It's
Gotcha.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that is. And, I used to be that guy, but I've tried, telling people, more recently, yes, sometimes you have to have an attorney involved with things, but a lot of times an attorney, doing his best job to represent you and everything like that is liable to kill a perfectly fine deal just by.
You do tend to microanalyze.
Yeah, but this little thing could happen, okay, and this could too, and
I had some. So the guy called me to get a market analysis, and he lives in Mexico, and the wife they're divorcing. The wife is here. I have never met the wife. I sent the market analysis, and now the attorney wants me to testify. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't even have a signed agreement. I've never seen the house. I can't really tell you what it's worth without looking at it. I certainly can't testify to it. And I don't know who you're working for.
At the divorce, is that what they want you to do?
Yeah. And I said, nah, I don't want to pick sides here because I'm not even hired by either one of them.
Yeah. I will say that's one thing I have learned to try to resist. My wife has helped me with it, I should say. And that is, Richard, it's 2 letters. It's N-O. And, you always try to be a nice guy and help people out here and here and here. And inevitably, it takes 10 times as much time, effort, and energy as they thought and as you thought. And you get nickeled and dimed. And that's just me. I can see you with all the transactions you have.
Yeah. Now I got some buyer filing the ethics complaint because she didn't get the house. She tried a 1-star review, and I went to her agent and said, take it down because it was false, or I'm going to I will file an ethics complaint against you. So then she had her file one against me. I'm like, okay. So she says she threatened. I'm like, no, now it's a promise. Watch me.
I just don't, I can't ever imagine that there's any kind of issue between the two of us. But if there ever were, I would give myself the advice I would give other people as well. And that is, you know what? Barb's not a woman you want to mess with. I mean, if you want to have business with her, you're good because she's honest, you're honest, and everything is good to go. If you want to start, dancing around the edges of what's, legal or not, then she's not the best partner because she's going to stick to one thing, and that's just doing the right thing and being legal. I mean,
Well,
it's not hard.
I think the buyer's pissed off because she didn't get the house.
Yeah.
She didn't make the best offer. And it was her agent that told her not to make her best offer. She told me that. Oh, don't worry, they'll counter you. I'm like, you're an idiot. I told you there were 3 offers. What do you think that's going to mean? Best and highest. Does that at all confuse people that are not in real estate? You're in real estate,
I had a friend of mine bought a condo up in Castle Rock, and she probably paid, I don't know, 2 or 3, maybe even $4,000 or $5,000 higher than what she probably could have, might have, whatever. But she wanted the place, and she was willing to take the chance that she might be paying more than somebody else was. Well, I mean, paying less, whatever. And the thing is, she wanted it, and the agent understood that she wanted it, and so you make it happen under those circumstances. But it sounds to me like you've got, a client, or she has a client that, well, we lost the house. Why? Because you weren't willing to pay more for it. Well, we were willing to pay more for it. Then you should have said that instead of thinking that you're going to spend 2 or 3 days dicking around, going back and forth between you and her and you and her. I mean, I understand that's the way things used to be done, but
Well, I mean, it's not up to me to train other real estate agents.
right?
I'm not going to
Yes.
do it. And for her to go trash my reputation to the public because she didn't get the house, I just said, I blame you, agent. Whatever you said to her, for some reason, deflected your incompetence on me. And if you don't make her take it down, I'm going to file an ethics complaint. So what's the buyer do? She files an ethics complaint against me for threatening that. And I'm like, no, that wasn't a threat. Now I'm really going to do it. So
Again, they picked the wrong person to mess with. I don't know what it's
I
gonna
don't
take.
threaten that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. It's like you can't go out and lie and say this crap. Oh, we're willing to pay 50,000 more than I offered, but you didn't. And I have the goods. I have the receipts. It just, and it was because her dummy agent told her, don't worry, the seller will definitely counter your offer.
Well, then she ought to be going after her own agent, is what she
That's
ought to
what I
be
think.
doing, All right, I got a clock here. I'm good to go. David looks like he is good to go. How about you, Barb?
Ready.
I will count us down in 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb's also a pilot. And Barb Schlinker and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have got to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just go ahead and search all of the popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. You'll find Barb there as well. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about the housing market and one of the largest assets most people have, the home. So, Barb, what are we covering today?
Well, Richard, it's going to be fun talking about today's show. The first topic, I wanted to kind of pivot off something that Charles Payne from Fox Business said about how the market forces are affecting home prices and affordability. He made some really good points. And then the second topic is basically for home sellers, what do you do if the house is not selling? We have solutions for every home seller, and all you have to do is just ask us. But I'll go over some examples, and it's different market to market. It's different in the property type. And a lot of people just put that price out there and hope and pray they're going to get it. And when it doesn't happen, they leave that price out there. And that's the problem. They're in denial that it really is worth what the market's willing to pay and not what they think. And the third topic is what to do if you want to buy your next house, but you have a home to sell. We'll talk about all the different options available to people. Usually the worst solution if you have a house to sell is to make an offer contingent on your home selling. I got a request like this yesterday. Oh, my buyers love the house, but will your seller accept an offer contingent on their home selling? And it's not on the market yet, right? What do you have, agent? You have a buyer that can't buy. If they have to sell that property before they buy their next home, they can't buy. And you're actually asking the seller to tie up the property and live in hopium that maybe it's going to work out. It just doesn't work out. Now, it's a different story if that thing goes on the market and gets a contract. Now you have a little bit more opportunity to get your offer accepted. So we'll talk about all the different options for that. And the last topic is, it's interesting, but I'm seeing this more and more, that fewer buyers are actually looking to work with their own real estate agents. And that's pretty an interesting trend right now. So I think the buyers really know what's going on in the real estate market much more than people give them credit for. So it'll be fun covering that today. Richard?
Moving into the spring selling season, and we're hearing in the news that President Trump and the administration are working on a couple of things like that 50-year mortgage. Fannie and Freddie buying $200 billion in mortgages, potentially causing interest rates to come on down. So what are you and some of the experts saying about the housing market right now?
Well, we definitely have an affordability crisis right now, especially for the first-time home buyers. You know, we have a lot of military and veterans in this market. So if they buy a home, no money down, their payment, even for a low to average price point of around 400,000, is going to be 3,000 a month. That's pretty steep for most people to afford. And the problem is that renting is less expensive than buying. That was not the case back between 2019 and the middle of 2022. And so it was interesting to see Charles Payne come out. Now, he's more about stock investing and that sort of thing. But he had a really interesting statement that he made on Brett Baer's special report on Fox News last week. And basically, yeah, I mean, the Trump administration is trying to do the best they can to move the real estate markets a little bit. One of their balloons they floated was a 50-year mortgage, which is not great. It's almost like renting a home. But this is what Charles Payne said. He said there are three things really have to happen to make homes more affordable. The first one is that incomes must go up by 56%. Now, Richard, how likely do you think incomes are going to go up by 56%?
Less than zero?
Yeah, it's just not happening. The other option is home prices to go down by 35%. And what do you think of that happening here?
Less than zero?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Back during the meltdown, when the sky was falling, I'm talking about between, I remember the day. I had a closing in 2007. I'll never forget this day. And we were at the closing table. It was one of those rare events where the buyers and the sellers were there. And at that time, lending was, pretty wild. Mortgage brokers were doing all kinds of stuff. And I believe that mortgage broker knew that there was something going sideways with that buyer's loan. So what we were told was that the lender was trying to sell their business, and we were just waiting for an offer letter to come before we could close. So we're all hanging out at the closing table, waiting. An hour goes by. Finally, the title company comes out and says, "I'm really sorry. The mortgage company just went out of business, so we're not closing today." And it's like, what? I mean, you never see that happen when you're that far in the process. And that was a clue to me that, okay, something weird's going on. I have a lot of friends all across the country that are in real estate in different markets. And they were telling me at the time, yeah, their prices are dropping or they're not going up like they used to. Both were going on in different markets. So it was hard to get your finger on what was really happening at the time. But that was the beginning. Now, what happened in our market is it stabilized from that point, 2007 to 2008. Nothing really happened. It kind of remained flat. The prices didn't drop. Well, that reminds me of the kind of market that we're in right now. The market's kind of flat. They're not really dropping that much. It's kind of, just hanging out. There's more inventory on the market. But what happened after that, there was a big surge in the number of foreclosures. And part of that had to do with the lending that was going on at the time. There is no lending like that now, or very few loans like that now. Things like, hey, I'll give you 100% financing. You get an 80% first, 20% second. And oh, by the way, it's interest only. So your interest rate is 1%, but every month your loan balance goes up. So home buyers were going backwards in equity. So it had to give at some point. It wasn't going to work. And everybody was saying at the time, oh, don't worry, the prices will keep going up. It'll be fine. Well, that didn't happen. That's what the mortgage brokers were saying. The prices didn't go up when all of this came out in the daylight and people understood that, hey, wait, wait a minute, I've got a loan that every month I owe more than I did the previous month, even though I'm making payments. And there were people that could have gotten a fixed interest rate that were begging for this 1% mortgage because the payment was lower. So it was based on this kind of false pretext, and that's what caused the values to go down. So to look at that 35% number in our market during that meltdown, the prices went down about 25%, not 35%. That would be a crash. I don't anticipate that that's going to happen here. What's been going on in the last few years is prices aren't going up. They've been relatively flat, if not working backwards just a little bit. So I don't think that's going to happen. And the activity that I'm experiencing in my business, definitely not happening. I was very busy over the last week, and I'm surprised that all of a sudden the buyers are coming out. The other thing that Charles Payne said is that the rates need to drop by 2.68%. So the rates have been the same now for about a year. And they're about 6.17 conventional, just below 6 for the government loans. And you can buy down those rates a little bit, but it's just been sameness. So if we see a 2-point drop, oh yeah, I think the buyers are going to come out in force. I feel like the buyers are coming out right now anyway. But at the end of the day, if you look at on the national level, the average price is $432. Our prices are higher here in Colorado. The median list price in El Paso County is about $528. Average days on market 123. Median list price in Douglas County, which has gone up quite a bit, at $875. That's a lot of money. That makes it very tough for first-time home buyers to get in the door. But their average days on the market only 119. And then you look at Teller County, average price, median list price about $510. And average days on market up to 165, almost 6 months. And Pueblo, average price right now, median list price to about $340, average days on market 120 days. So what we are seeing just in this local market is mostly veterans that bought during the boom at full price, got 100% financing. And that's why we're seeing a bit of a surge in Colorado Springs, in particular in foreclosures. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of the show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about why Charles Payne is saying that the market forces are indicating something has to give. Either interest rate, prices, or salaries have to go up. And we're hoping it's interest rates. That would be the best of all. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what should you do if you need to make a move in this kind of market. If you are thinking of making a move, give us a call. We have experience in any kind of market. Give us a call at 719-301-3900. Dan? I'm sorry, 30, Richard.
I've had a lot of my girlfriends and wives call me by a different name under certain circumstances and caught me off guard a little bit. But and I'm like, Dan, do you want to come out of the closet here, or we're talking about you, buddy? So, all right,
Sorry.
Richard. So we're talking about Fox's Charles Payne and some of his thought. But Barb Schlinker, I really need to know from you about this particular market, Front Range, Colorado Springs, right now.
Well, according to Barb's world, the market's picking up quite a bit. We're seeing all of a sudden, right in January. Usually January for me over the last, 5 or 6 years has been really quiet. But actually December was one of my best months of 2025. January is looking great and February is looking even better. So I think there's more buyers that have been sitting on the sidelines and they're coming out now. But sellers always want the most money. So how do you do that in any kind of market? First of all, you prepare properly to position the home to be the best on the block. You got to price it right. You can't overprice a home. I don't care how pretty the home is. It just never works. And then make sure it's promoted properly. I see a lot of mistakes in that where the pictures are awful. They use their iPhone to take pictures. They don't tell the clients to declutter. It's like, unless that home is way underpriced, it's going to hurt you on the sale. And sometimes homes are not selling. But if they're not selling, if you make a price adjustment, it can work. We had one that we made a price adjustment of a small percentage point just last week. Boom, got 2 offers sight unseen right out of the gate. So the best solution for success is pricing it realistically rather than waiting the 4 or 5 months to get a contract. And keep in mind, only 1 out of 3 homes are getting contracts right now. You want to be the 1 out of 3 homes, and we know how to do that. So give us a call at 719-301-3900. We sell homes all the time. I talk to a lot of agents that pester me after business hours on weekends. Why can't you answer me right now at 7:30 at night on a Sunday? And I don't know why they do that. I think they have another job, to be honest. A lot of them do, but this is our careers. This is full time. This is what we do. We sell homes all the time. We know what's going on in the market and we can help you. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard.
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She is and should be your real estate voice, your home sold guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing what to do if your house doesn't sell.
And why Barb said Dan.
Dan. I think that's the first time I've ever done that.
It is.
Oh, no, that is absolutely the first time. I can honestly say I have never heard that previously. I've heard
I work
Mark.
with Dan Cashell on the other station, but just once a week, just a call-in thing. Sorry.
He used to do sports, I think, didn't he?
He did. He did the Broncos, and
There you are. Okay. Let me just step out for one quick second.
I even trained him once on magic.
oh, really?
Yeah. He worked one weekend on magic and he's like, yeah, this is not for me.
Yeah, he bought a station out east in Lamar or something.
He's actually owned that for years. He's finally putting something on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually his hometown, which is kind
Oh,
of
is it really?
Yeah.
It's always such a big victory when I check my mail. Oh, God. or I think it is. All right, let's see. I got number 2 here. I'm ready to go.
All right.
Ready?
All right, count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of the program. Now, Barb, as the selling season winds down, I would think there are quite a few home sellers who have not had homes that sell. They're just not selling. What are the reasons that they're not selling, and what can they do about it?
Well, Richard, actually, it's interesting. A lot of people think that they should wait to the summer to sell, and there are seasons. But the truth is, we sell homes year round. Typically, the majority of homes available for sale happens in the summertime, but in the springtime is a great time to sell a home, especially in the Colorado Springs area, because there's a lot of military getting orders right around March, April. They're going to have to move in June, but there's fewer homes on the market. So homes tend to sell for a premium just in the Colorado Springs area during that time. And there's other prime seasons for certain areas, like Teller County is just spectacular in the summer. So we get a lot of Texans coming up here enjoying that and buying properties then. So I wouldn't call it seasonality at all. I think what's going on is it's all about supply and demand and making sure you get the 4 P's right: pricing, preparation, picking the right agent, and making sure that agent properly promotes the home so it doesn't get rejected online. Your first showing is online. You wouldn't believe how many buyers that tell me, I found the house. My agent didn't do anything. But the system is kind of rigged that way, where now it's sort of like all the photos and all the images are out there once the home is on the market on all the websites and the tech company sites. And the buyers are deciding which homes that they want to go see based on the online presentation. And that's why it's absolutely critical that the listing agent make sure that that property is properly promoted in that way. So preparation. Now, this depends on pricing. There are some people that think you have to go in. I met with one yesterday that had a beautifully updated home, but they wanted to update some more. And there was only one thing that I thought they should do. It was an inexpensive thing that would add another bathroom. That definitely would be something I would consider, because you're going to get the investment back. But some things don't add money to the bottom line, like tankless water heaters. And there's just certain things that solar systems, man, I've been in a lot of arguments with home sellers that think that their solar panels add that much value to the house. And the buyers are kind of like, well, it's nice, but they won't pay extra for it. That's the problem. And it's hard to prove it. So basically, home buyers, are looking for the best home in their price range in the area that they want to be. However, they will forgive an awful lot of sins and take a home as is if it's priced very, very, very realistically. Like I have one under contract right now, and it was taken back in foreclosure, which is a sad thing to say for me always, but I've handled a lot of sales for the VA. And this home, nice home in a good neighborhood, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. However, somebody broke into it and stole the appliances and stole the island on the kitchen countertop, the quartz island. And it looked like a professional job, like a surgical extraction of this piece of quartz, which is ridiculous. But anyway, so obviously the buyer would have to do some work. So the seller priced the home a little bit more than 10% below similar sales. And we had a bidding war on that home, even though it needed work, even though some of the doorway jambs were broken, even though it was missing appliances. Buyers are like, oh, that's a great deal. I can get in the home, I can do my own work and go from there. The good news is overall pending sales are actually up. And I was talking to an agent yesterday and we were talking about that. She goes, yeah, I'm busier now than I have been in a long time, especially in a January. So when you price a home, it doesn't take a whole lot to generate interest from a buyer. It really is all about looking at the whole picture, what's available for sale in that neighborhood. And what has sold is only solely to substantiate what an appraiser would think it was worth, only if your buyer is getting a loan. We made a price adjustment on one home recently, and the buyer that had just seen it just a few days before made an offer. So it wasn't, and we got 2 offers at the same time. Now, preparation is kind of important. And the reason I say that, I did just recently put a house under contract that it smells really awful. And it's a repo, but it's priced way under similar sales, and an investor is going to buy it and fix it up and rent it out. And that's fine. But in general, for a regular retail, what I call a retail sell, it's very important not to have a home that smells. I had one of my first brokers that I ever worked with used to have this saying. He goes, if you could smell it, you can't sell it. And I think that's very true. Sometimes people don't detect odor in the house where they live, especially pet odor. I had one client recently that had both pet odor, but it wasn't overwhelming. It's just that they vacated the home before they sold it. And so with the home being closed up, when a new buyer walks in to see it, if it's been closed up, every little smell is basically magnified. Also, he was smoking in the garage. Now, my husband does that. You know, he claims he's smoking outside. He smokes cigars, but I can smell it. I have a nose like a bloodhound, and I can smell it. And I know what's going to happen when we sell. We're going to have to kills the garage and paint and get rid of that, because people can pick up on it. I showed a house very recently, and the home was nice. The floor plan was nice. The buyer was interested. But when you walked in the door, it actually smelled like dirty diapers. And I'm like, that's odd, because the house is empty except for, you know, staging furniture. Obviously, they don't live here. I couldn't find any trash laying around. I don't know what it was initially. And so I gave the feedback to the listing agent. And I talked to her about it and said, hey, did you get my feedback? Oh, yeah, we went in there. We didn't smell anything. It must be you and the buyer. So she's saying we smell.
Whoa. You and the buyer smell like dirty diapers?
That's what she said. It must be you. And I'm like, oh, boy. Okay. And then my buyer did some research and learned something really interesting, that if you have one of those swamp coolers in your house, and you haven't changed the filter, it'll smell like dirty diapers. And I'm like, there it is. So I gave her that feedback. But anyway, those are some of the things, you know, in the case of the smoking in the garage and the main level carpet that just needed to be replaced, the seller only spent $4,000. And within the next couple of showings, we got a full price offer. So it does make a difference taking care of these issues, because buyers do not want to have to fix stuff right before they move in their new house. And, you know, if we've got a little bit lower demand than we had during the boom, you got to take care of these issues unless it's super, super low priced. And that brings me to the next topic, which is pricing. More than half the home sellers are lowering their price because their agent told them a price, or Zillow told them that their house was worth what it's not worth. And I just recently learned that Zillow bases their opinion, their estimate of value, not on what homes have sold for, but what other homes are asking. So they've got a 65% failure rate. If 1 out of 3 homes are selling, they're basing their estimate on the homes that are not selling. It doesn't make any sense to me. And unfortunately, the agents just go along with that and go, oh, sure, you know, that's your home value, put it on the market there. And they offer this crazy high price, and they let the other agents be the bad guy and give feedback if they show that says it's priced too high. And then they get the price down eventually. I don't think that's ethical personally, but it happens. But right now, the problem is 87% of real estate agents are getting out of the business every 5 years. So most of them have never seen a flat market. They've never seen a correcting market. They don't know what to do. They look backwards when the prices are higher and go, yeah, your home is worth that much. Then they stick the home on the market and it's not selling. So that's why it's really, really important to hire somebody with experience and expertise and make sure you get the 4 P's right. And the last and one of the most important ones is promotion. If the buyers don't like the picture, you can't get them in the door. You only have less than 57 seconds to make an impression with the buyer. It has to be right. I took over a listing from one agent last year where they had used their smartphone to take pictures. They were awful. The home was beautiful. The seller had actually spent money bringing in professional home staging. They were overseas, they're a military family, still didn't sell because the pictures were awful. And so he fired him, hired me, we put it back on the market, and I sold it for full price in 9 days. So there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. And we're talking about what to do if your house is not selling. If you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Now, Barb, we're discussing the why a house may not be selling. What are some of the things that home sellers should do to sell their home fast and, more importantly, for the most amount of money?
Well, the first thing is figure out your selling strategy. Not everybody has the same, what I call motivation for selling. Some people tell me, I'm not in a hurry. There's no rush for me. It really doesn't matter, how quickly we sell. But I will tell you, most home sellers really dislike the pain point of showing after showing and the critical feedback. It needs too much updating. It needs this, it needs that. It's priced too high. Wah, wah, wah. There's always a number where you hit that sweet spot where the buyers go, I'll take it. And sometimes it's more than one buyer. So you can sell it as is for cash or to cash buyers or to the open market. You can sell it full market value. But on a full market value sell, the buyers are expecting it all. They want, I can't believe sometimes the feedback that I'm hearing, well, it needs too much updating. It's like, okay, but it has granite counters, it has stainless steel appliances, it has new carpet. What's the problem? Well, the basement carpet need to be replaced. They just don't want to spend any money. And the only thing that solves that is pricing it, what I call very, very, very realistically. And the market's going to tell you right away if you got it wrong. If you're not getting very many showings, it's a price thing. If you're getting showings but no offers, it's a little bit less of a price thing. If you're getting many showings but no offers or lowball offers, it's just a tiny bit. You got to make a move. And if you're getting offers that you're right there in the sweet spot, and you're probably just going to be able to pick the right buyer when it's time. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you are thinking of making a move, call Barb. The number is 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to buy your next home if you already have a home to sell. Barb's got that answer.
Do I sound like the same old broken record?
No. Nope. And if you did, I would tell you, but no, you've always got a different way of presenting things. You nuance on this or this or this. Some of the themes are, you talked about this, 2 months or 3 months ago or whatever, but I don't know, David, it doesn't sound stale to me.
No,
David,
she presents it in a different way. She even tells her stories a little bit different. So
yeah.
it's not a
Yeah,
problem.
some of them are the same old story.
No,
It
but
might be the same story, but you say it a little bit different. So it's going to reach a different audience.
Yeah.
and quite honestly, you've got so many stories to choose from. That's the beauty of doing this for as long as you have. I mean, and that's, I try to tell people that all the time, and that is, yes, of course, sometimes a new fact pattern might come up. But the reality is, when you've been doing this for a while, like Barb has, there's a very good chance that she has had something like this happen before, or she has been out there presenting at a seminar, or been at a seminar where somebody was talking about this and they networked about it. You don't get blindsided very often, if at all. If at all.
I learn stuff every week, though, I tell you.
Okay, let's see. I've got number 3. I'm good to go. Barb.
Ready?
David's ready. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty, and the host of the program. Now, Barb, most people are very concerned about which comes first. Sell first, then live in temporary housing, or buy first, then sell at your leisure. What are some of the solutions that you have, Barb, for this catch-22? The people at Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty and you have got solutions. What are they?
Well, Richard, most home sellers want certainty. So the underlying assumption is, okay, I put my house on the market, it's going to sell. But then when it doesn't sell, it's surprising, right? They want certainty that their house will sell. They want certainty that they can get a certain price so they can move to their next home. And of course, they want to make sure it will go smoothly. I just spoke with a seller last weekend. She was talking about the previous time she sold and bought, and there were surprises at the last minute. Nobody likes surprises, and she's still not over it. It was years and years ago. So it's really, really important that you get somebody that's communicating with you all the way. Now, there are times when there are things that happen that are completely out of your control. When you have, this happens a lot because it's 1 month of school to be a real estate broker. It's 1 week of school to be a mortgage broker. Imagine handling your largest mortgage. And really what they do is originate loans, like they get the borrower to apply for a loan, but they don't approve the loan. They might use their gadgets like automated underwriting or something like that and say, oh, you're pre-approved. But they haven't really done a deep dive into the buyer's finances yet. And yet they're telling the seller, oh, everything's going to be fine. It's going to go through. So I've had lenders lie to me and say, oh, yeah, this is fine. We just need this and this, and it's going to be great, you know? And the next thing I know, we're right before closing. Oh, sorry, can't get a loan. I recommend they terminate. I'm like, why? Oh, I can't tell you, it's privacy. Like, okay, whatever. So it's very disheartening for a home seller to have that happen to them, to have a deal fall apart like that. But there's not much you can do about it. You just have to move on. Now, what we do is we continue to market the home, especially up on the big box text company sites like Zillow, Realtor.com, and Homes.com. We are not going to tell the world it's under contract until the deal is firm, because that creates demand destruction. So we're trying to sell it all the way to the end. That's what we do for our clients. It may not be the way other people do it, but they don't run my business. So I'm okay with that. And you know what? The sellers really want to know that they'll have the resources when they get to their destination, right? So there are some choices. There's some options out there. They can be somewhat expensive, and some of them maybe not. I met with a home seller yesterday that has a paid for house and they have sufficient income. So they could go buy their next home right now without any problem. They don't like the idea of having a mortgage again, but I run into a lot of people that are in that category of having a paid for home, and they can go buy their next home. And that probably is the lowest stress way of moving from A to B. But I find most people won't even go on the market until they kind of have their destination sort of firmed up. But if they buy their next home first and they move at their pace, it is a much lower stress to deal with. Now, there's a lot of people that don't want the home to go vacant. You know, like let's say they buy their next home first. They don't want it to be empty while they're making the transition. There's ways around it. We market to make sure it looks like it's occupied. I also recommend you put up cameras and things like that just to watch what's going on around the doors. But if a buyer comes to us and asks one of our sellers, hey, will you take your house off the market waiting for me to sell mine? And oh, by the way, my house isn't even on the market yet. Most home sellers are like, no, because you're not ready to buy. You don't have a ready, willing, able buyer yet. They will be when they get their house under contract. They're a little bit more towards the finish line. They still have to wait for all of their landmines to go through on their sale if they have a contract on their house. But if they don't, it's a big gamble right now, especially with the average days on market going up to over 5 months. But we have a whole bunch of solutions, and we even guarantee the price range. We actually show up with multiple offers on your home with cash offers. And, you know, we try to make the process as pain-free as possible. So we actually have cash buyers that can make an offer on pretty much any home on the market in the whole country. So if a buyer comes to you and has a house to sell, I can put their address in our cash offer platform and get them an offer so they can buy your home without a sale contingency. But having a house that's not on the market and asking the seller, will you wait for me another 5 months to sell this house, is just too much of a risk for most sellers, and they won't take it. And you know, there are some statuses in the MLS system. They're all different. There's 1,500 different MLS software companies in the country. The software companies don't have the same software, and they don't talk to each other. So Realtor.com was actually the first company to ever blend all these different MLS software. They're kind of like local Realtor Club software into one website and present it as all the homes for sale. It's pretty accurate information. Zillow was the next one on the scene, then homes.com, and there's more. But at the end of the day, most most consumers don't log in to the local MLSs. We tried to do it when we bought a house for our son out in California. I tried to log into their local MLS as a consumer, and he wouldn't let me do it. I had to go to Zillow to find houses. So that's what most buyers do. 64% of buyers are going to Zillow to see what's available. But all the different MLSs have these different categories of status. So if the seller accepts a contract, they mandate that we're supposed to show the home as under contract. So all the tech companies follow suit. And now buyers looking at that, they'll say, well, it says contingent. What does that mean? That means that the seller has accepted a contract. They may have a house to sell. They may not, that buyer. You don't know unless you ask and find out more about it. But typically the buyers take it as that home is not available, moving on. To me, that's demand destruction, because there are contracts that fail. There are situations where homes, deals fall apart, and it's becoming more and more common than you would think. But we do it a different way. Now, there are some home sellers that will take the chance of a contingent offer. And that's great if they are willing to do that, but they have to understand, if the other agents see that it has a contract, they're just not going to show it. They're going to move on. So I don't think it's a good concept, because a seller can always accept a backup offer, right? Now, if you do get a contingent offer, you could still work with them, but I just would not change the status until their home is sold. You really want to verify everything in the real estate world. And oh, by the way, it has to be in writing. I just had an agent call me. I wrote an offer on their property, and they called me and said, oh, well, the seller's willing to counter at this price, and they're only going to offer this much commission. And I asked her, I said, okay, let me get this straight. you're telling me that you can't be bothered to spend 30 seconds. That's all it takes. And that's a long time to write up a counter proposal in writing that says that. Well, I like to talk on the phone. I said, well, I don't. So why don't you send it over in writing and I will present it to my client? Because Richard, you went to law school. Does it mean anything, a verbal counter proposal?
Not on something like this, and it depends on the state whether even verbal agreements are enforceable, but certainly not something like this.
Well, not real estate. It's very, very strict about the rule. Real estate, it says it has to be in writing. So she was claiming there was another offer. So why didn't they counter my buyer in writing? I don't know. That was more than a week ago. And guess what? Their house is still on the market. And to me, it's like, really, you could not spend 30 seconds to trying to negotiate with my buyer. I just don't get it. It's not that hard. It's really bad. It's like, 1 month of school and they don't do it very well. Anyway, my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about what do you do if you want to buy your next home, but you have a house to sell. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a few solutions that might work for you. If you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb, we've gone from nearly all homes selling for a premium price to homes sitting longer on the market and some homes actually not selling. How do you give home sellers certainty when it comes to the sale?
Well, there's a lot of options out there. Some people choose to do what's called taking a home equity line of credit. Now, in that case, if you do it, most of the lenders out there that offer home equity lines of credit will actually give you up to 75% of your equity minus whatever loan balance you might have as a loan, right? And it's basically a loan against your current home. And you can use it for a down payment or a full-on purchase of your next home. So those are solutions. However, if you're going to get a loan on your next home, you need to qualify both for the payments on the home equity line of credit as well as your new loan. And that can be tricky for some people. We have some systems, we have investors out there, a couple of them that will give you up to 75% of your home equity as kind of like an advance on your loan on your home. But it becomes a lien like a home equity line of credit on your current home. However, there is no payment for that, but they do charge a percent, usually 2.5% of the full value in the form of what they charge for the cost of the money. And those systems work very well as well. I've also heard of bridge loans where you can pull equity out and kind of bridge the gap between the two houses. But again, in those cases, you have to qualify for both mortgages. I've also had home buyers use something called a recast. That's a really cool thing. Now, hello, if you qualify for a recast loan, then basically the way it works is you buy your next home first, then you sell your current home, okay? And so you've already closed on your existing home and you have to do this in advance. And then when your current home sells, you take the net proceeds, you put it down on your current mortgage. And once you do that, they lower the payment of the current mortgage without refinancing. There's a few lenders in town that do that. It's a really, really good program. It only costs a few $100s to do this recast product. And it's a very nice solution if you have the resources to basically buy both homes. And we have lots of options, including our cash offer program. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call. We show up at every listing with multiple offers on your home. And you just call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Give Barb a call at 719 301 3900. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That is Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. The number 719 301 3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing why fewer buyers are working with a real estate agent and the ups and downs of doing that. Or wait, or the pros or cons of doing that. Is that better? Yeah. All right.
Okay, give me just a second. Somebody popped in.
Yeah. Oh, is it one of those Pop-Tart agents?
No. Pop-Tart
I've been
agent.
waiting to have that. I'm going to run to the men's room here too.
Okay. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Okay. You want something to drink? No, I'm good, thank you. Okay. Oh, 44. Hey, did you hear the ding by any chance? Did that bother you, David?
No, it did not.
Yeah, when they chime in on Slack, I have to train them not to do that when we're recording the show.
Oh, she's back. Okay. Oh, that's my mistake. I ran out to the. Okay. Let's see here.
Okay.
Whoops. Okay, I've got number 4, and I am ready to go. I'll count us down in 3, 2,
Ready.
1. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, most people are very concerned about which comes first. First sell, then live in temporary housing, or buy first, then sell at your leisure. What are some of the solutions that you have, Barb, when it comes to Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty?
Hey, I don't think that's the
Sounds like-
question.
Right? How did that happen?
The question is,
I know. I think I got 2 segment 3s, right? Hang on.
anyway, it says, Most buyers start their search online. Many meet with real estate. What do buyer agents do these days?
Did
Or
I
what do
Oh, yeah.
buyers
You
do?
know what? And I didn't catch that. Exactly. You know what? I had 2 copies of 3, and I should have noted that. Now I'm ready to go. We'll count us
Here
down
we go.
again. What's that?
I said, here we go.
There we go again. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty, and the host of the program. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. Barb, many times you've told us that most buyers start off their search online, and many will meet a real estate agent from that search. What do buyers agents do these days?
Well, Richard, it's an interesting question. A lot of buyers are asking that question these days as well. And, technology's really changed the way people look for homes. When I started a long time ago, back in the 90s, basically they had a white MLS phone book and the agents controlled the inventory. And actually, they knew the inventory, which I think that's good, but not now. And now it's become completely different where all of the available listings are posted online on all these different websites. And the buyers are raising their hand saying, I want to see this one. I want to see that one. And so on top of that, the MLS systems are designed to make sure the listing agent is not prominently marked on the listing. They have to be marked on the listing, but you have to scroll way down to find it. We have rules like I cannot take a picture of my yard sign. I cannot have any of my contact information in the public description. I can't have a picture of anything marking that we actually paid to take that picture. What they do is they put their own trademark on top of our proprietary listings, which drives me crazy, but I don't have any control over it. And the reason they do it is that they do something called an IDX connection. I don't know what it means, but basically, I know what it means. I don't know what the acronym stands for, but basically, if an agent goes in and they put in, say, 1 or 2 or 10 listings in the MLS, those listings get shared to other brokerages' websites, all the different big box websites, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, and they want the contact information of the actual listing agent stripped out as much as possible to make it fair for the other agent to be able to bring their buyers or leverage their listings with their own marketing. So it's not fair. It basically works against people that actually work, which is insane. And here in this local area in Colorado Springs, the local MLS demands that you must be a member of the National Association. And if you're not a member, your name cannot be on your listing. It's insane. So I don't know. I have to pay extra to put my name on my listing, on all of my listings, which is it's a problem. So when I first started, before I found solutions around all their dumb rules, I noticed that, hey, how come I'm not getting very many buyers call me on my own listings? Very few called off the sign. Most of them, quote, had an agent that they connected with somehow online. And that was because they were taking our data, using it for their purposes, and allegedly bringing their own buyer for our listings. And then, some houses actually are very highly desirable. I put one on the market last year where the seller was offering a VA assumable loan. So any VA loan is assumable. And his interest rate on that loan was something like 2.75%, which is amazing and low. And I was able to advertise that the way I market, and the buyer picked up on that very quickly and called me and said, hey, get me in that house before the open house. As soon as they saw the house, they're like, how do we buy it? So we were able to sell that home in just one day. But the buyer got a huge benefit. They assumed the loan. They had to put a down payment for the difference. but they ended up not having to pay 6%, but only 2.75% for this mortgage, which over the life of the mortgage, basically will save them about $500,000 in interest. I talked to a seller yesterday that told me, yeah, we went out to look at this agent's listing. Now, last year, after the NAR settlement, and they decided, okay, no longer is the buyer agent commission offered anywhere online. There were two rules that came out of it. Can't advertise the buyer agent commission. And when a buyer shows a listing, they have to have something in writing from the agent that's signed by the buyer that says that if they sell that home to them, they owe them a commission. Well, it's hard to get buyers to sign that. We've tested it, and they're like, nah, we'll just find somebody else to show us the house. But anyway, this seller I spoke to said that, yeah, we went and looked at their home, and the paperwork they gave us said, I don't work for you. Now, what kind of sales is that? Welcome. I don't work for you. It's kind of like, go away. It's just so strange. But anyway, so there was a really cool article written by a millennial that said, what do real estate agents do anyway? The buyer's agents in particular, like we can get the market info as a consumer, we can get financing, we can figure out the process, we understand taxes, we can facilitate the negotiations. And, we basically all of those duties we can do, and we found the house. So why are we paying extra for these people? And the other thing that drives me crazy is most of the agents have what they call a transaction coordinator. So this is a new administrative position that the buyer's agents are hiring. They're paying them a couple $100. So what have they done so far? They've opened a door, they've filled out a 10-minute form fill and written a contract. That's what they've done. Now, from there to closing, they don't want to do anything else. They want to hand it off to a transaction coordinator and show up at the end of the transaction and collect $10,000 to $20,000 in commission for spending 2 to 3 hours of work. Now, who doesn't want that job? And then they abdicate what they should be paying attention to keep the deal together to some unlicensed assistant. And what they do is they send the unlicensed assistant and stick them on the listing agent to do their admin. It's unbelievable. It's not impressive. And the problem is these days, the buyers are figuring it out that they're really not adding a lot of value. So therefore, they're just going around it and going directly to the listing agent and trying to negotiate their own deal. And it's very sad to hear that the industry, and I know this from experience, I've done this is my 30th year, that the industry is terrible at training agents how to do the things that consumers expect you to know what to do, how to market, how to handle objections, how to negotiate, how to help them through the process, and closing skills. They have no idea how to do it. There's very little training on how to do it, but that's what the consumers expect you to do. And it's sad to me. So what this millennial that wrote the article said, basically, if they want to earn a commission, they need to do more to add than, give them access to homes that they already have access to, essentially, is what he said. My team doesn't do that. We actually have a VIP home finder service. Many of our buyers have enjoyed the benefits of getting access to homes that were not on the market yet and being able to purchase them ahead of other buyers, because we give them what we call insider access to homes that they can't find on the internet. And so that's why buyers more and more are actually looking to, do their own thing and do their own research. And I see it all the time. But if you are thinking of making a move, that's what we do for our clients. We'll sit down with them. We'll find out what you're looking for. We'll help you get the best financing. We'll give you insider access to homes that you can't find on the internet. Even give you insider access to home sellers that don't want to do the traditional home sale process. Just call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
So I am a little bit lost here. I've got a thing here that just says, I have to say, Richard, this is my observation as well. Is that where I pick it up? Because how far are we in? We're not close enough to go to the hot new listings, are we, David?
We're at hot new listings, yeah.
Okay. Where are we at on the clock? Because I didn't
I,
start
I have
that.
9 minutes.
Yeah.
So
It's right at 9 minutes. So.
Well, then I think we should go to the hot new listings, and that'll give you plenty of time to get through those. Let me. Here we are. And actually, you're doing that. Your script was exactly correct, and actually, I was in the right place. I was just confused for a second. We'll count it down in three, two, one. You're listening to Barb Schlinker on Your Real Estate Voice. That's the name of the program. Barb should be your real estate voice. She can do that if you give her a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, every week we talk about some hot new listings that you've got. What do you have this week?
well, Richard, I have some great properties. I have one on Danview out in Yoder. It's on 35 acres. It is a VA repo. The plumbing's not working. The siding needs work, but it's a really good price, 179,000 for about 1,800 square feet and 35 acres. Not bad. So it's a good investment for someone if they want to do just a little bit of work to make it right. We have another one like that up in Florissant on 5413 County Road 100, priced at 240,000. This is also a manufactured home with a log-like siding, 2 acres, beautiful property as far as the setting around the home. It does have some issues as well. Plumbing was frozen because it got left behind for over a year. And it does have a cistern. That means you have to have water delivered. But it's a really good buy to be able to have a nice little mountain getaway for 240,000. I have a lovely townhome in 80906, very prestigious school district 12 for 274,999, 2-bedroom, 3-bath, big 2-car garage, great property. Another one kind of near Fillmore and Union, 2436 North Meade Avenue, priced at 325,000. We have another VA repo down in Fountain on North El Paso near the Fountain Creek Park. That one's priced at 300,500. Nice big lot with a 2-car garage. Just needs a little bit of work to bring it to full market value. And then a beautiful home up in Woodland Park. It's 3 bedrooms, 1.25 bath. Kind of unusual that there's a full bath and then this is weird, but anyway, it has in the laundry room in one of the bedrooms, there is a toilet between the washer and dryer. I don't know. I would take that out, but it's a really nice big 2-car garage, fenced yard, a perfect starter home, actually, priced at 344,900. A beautiful home owned by the VA, 4561 Bramble Drive down near Mark Sheffel. Gorgeous rancher, 4215 Solar Face Court, priced at 399,800. This home has 4 bedrooms, 3 baths in perfect condition. A spectacular home on 7191 Ross Drive, priced at 759,900 on 1 acre right off of North Academy School District 20 with a 4-car garage. A great home on 30 Stevens Drive up in Florissant at 400,000. A beautiful home that's 6532 Mineral Belt at 700,000 with a 3-car garage. A home that we just listed out on Judge Orr Road. This thing is amazing. It's got a huge custom 5,400 square foot home, plus an auxiliary living unit of almost 3,000 square feet, parking for at least 11 cars, 2 barns, very happy 4-legged critters would enjoy that property, and over 80 acres priced at 1,399,000. Also a fantastic lot on 624 Hidden Valley. And the new to the market, beautiful home in Northgate, 12336 Stanley Canyon Road at 695. And then coming this week, we've got 2754 County Road 421 in Florissant. This is another amazing property, 40 acres. It also has an auxiliary dwelling unit in the outbuilding. It's just amazing and very beautiful. And then a short sale, lovely townhome in the 80 or condo in the 80905 zip code, priced at just 49,900. So if you want to find out about all of our properties, go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on featured properties, or give us a call at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Remember, you can see replays of the entire show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker, or listen to the podcast on all of the popular platforms like Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and many, many others. Thank you for listening this week. Reach out to Barb, 719-301-3900. Barb, stay warm and have a great week.
Thank you. Have a fabulous weekend.
All right. There we go. Man.